And he says hello up top here at 3:45 in the east, 1:45 out west. Scotty, good afternoon. Your turn. How are you today, pal? Okay?
I'm doing okay. Yourself?
Not bad, Scott. Thank you. Let me hear now. What do you have for me?
Well, dog, I hate the Patriots as much as the next guy, but if this weekend doesn't prove their dominance over the last 15 years, I don't know what does. And I'm not talking about how they stomped the Titans. I'm talking about this weekend was a weekend full of mistakes. I mean, Tomlin was awful. Atlanta having 4 chances inside the 9 and doing nothing was awful.
Yep.
I mean, we could leave the Minnesota final play alone. My grandmother knows that wasn't acceptable. Week in and week out, the Patriots and Belichick never seem to make these mistakes.
That's a good point.
It's reflected in the outcome.
Excellent point. 100%. They never have a. You know what the thing about the Patriots? They never have a bad loss. I mean, exactly. They never. Yeah, I mean, once in a while the Jets beat them that one time, and so did the Ravens a long, long time ago. But generally speaking, they never get picked off. You know, when they lost to the Giants a couple of times, they were stale the first time. They were undefeated. That took a little something out of them. I think they were 1 out. They were a little stale. The Giants were due. They had played them in Week 17. The second time they played the Giants are better. Because they had a better defensive front, and the Patriots, got a little overrun. But for the most part, they never have a bad loss. See, Pittsburgh has bad losses. Pittsburgh had a bad loss the other day. I mean, Kansas City has bad losses. They had a bad loss to Tennessee. You mentioned Atlanta. Excellent point. They've had a lot of bad losses, Atlanta, in their day. They had that terrible loss to San Francisco that one year when they had a huge lead at the half, and somehow they lost. So overall, you are 1,000% correct. Say what you want about Belichick. The greatness of Belichick. You know what the greatness of Belichick is, Scott? It's the routineness.
Yeah.
He knows how to take care of the routine. They go into every game with a plan. They never beat themselves, and you can beat them, but it's going to take either a better team, being at home. It's going to take something out of the ordinary, a great pass rush. It's going to take something out of the ordinary to pick them off. I mean, they go about their business so methodically. I'll tell you that. Go ahead.
You know what his best coaching decision of the weekend was?
I'm listening.
When he picked up the phone and called the Donald and had a false alarm sent to the island to get Marcus rattled.
Well, I mean,
I'm just messing with you, dog. You love the show, buddy. I'll let you go.
All right, Scott. Good line. Yeah, Hawaii wasn't pretty with the missile thing and the way we have it. Here's Jason in Baltimore, Maryland. Jay, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, what's happening, Chris?
Hello, Jason. Nice to talk to you.
My take on this is I'm not saying run Tomlin out of town, but look, I'm a Ravens fan, but I respect the heck out of Tomlin. Here's what I don't respect, and it goes back to, even him stepping out on the field with Jacoby Jones. He's too much of a cheerleader. And all the social media, calling Harrison Debo, we got him back and all this. I just feel that I'm not saying he's not a great coach, but
he's not a great coach. He's not a great
overrated. He's not a great coach.
No, he's not a great coach.
He's a little too chummy, and I'm not a huge Harbaugh guy. I mean, we have more pre-snap penalties than I'd like. I get on him about his discipline. He acts like he's a disciplinarian, but he's really not.
I think Harbaugh.
Tomlin's not one at all. I mean, Tomlin, to me, he wants to be too much one of the guys. I don't know. Maybe that's just me seeing it. And I respect the Steelers. They wipe our butts every year, but with that roster, look, you're a roster guy. McCarthy's only got one with Aaron Rodgers. That roster has been the best roster in football easily. Look, and I'm being conservative here for the last 3-4 years. And you're going to tell me that's all he's done with it? That has been the best roster. I'm sorry. Look, their defense, yeah, but come on. They got Bell, they got Brown, they got Bryant, they got Ben, and this is all they've done? Are you kidding me?
100%. And I think Harbaugh's a little stale in Baltimore, by the way, myself. I think that team's a little stale right now. If you look at Harbaugh, I know everybody likes to think that the Harbaughs are great. Jim hasn't done a thing in Michigan. I mean, the idea that he's done a big job there is a bunch of nonsense. He has done nothing, and they can't beat Michigan State. They can't beat Ohio State. They can't win a bowl game. I'm tired of listening to Jim Harbaugh. And he lost. He lost the Super Bowl. He didn't win the Super Bowl. They lost. They lost to it. He lost to the Ravens. He didn't beat them, and he lost to the Giants. You think the way Harbaugh gets treated that he's, I know he did a nice job at San Diego, and I know he did a nice job at Stanford. But Shaw's done a nice job at Stanford, too, So, I mean, we got to take it easy. He's overrated, to make a long story short. And I think in a lot of ways, and I'm really bothered by Harbaugh moaning and gloaning about the starting time of Week 17. You know, what's the NFL doing to us? 4:30, New Year's Eve. That's not fair. Shut up. Will you please go win the game? I mean, I don't want to hear it. And San Diego's playing at the same time you're playing, and they're in the mix. That bothered me. But if you look at Harbaugh, let's look at him for a second. He's another guy I moved down on, as I said. Harbaugh got to Baltimore. He's been a coach there since 2008. Now, he is, they went 9-7 this year, right? So let's get it up to date. He is 104-71. All right, good record. Nobody's arguing that. He's 104-71. But let's look at Harbaugh since he got there. He got there in 2008. Let's look at it year by year, which is the fairest way to do it. He got there in 2008. He came from the Eagles. I think he was a defensive back coach, wasn't he? Or whatever he was. I think he came from Philly. First year in Baltimore, 11-5. Nice year. They beat Tennessee. In Tennessee, then they lost to Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship game. They first beat Miami, then they beat Tennessee, won 2 playoff games, lost to Pittsburgh in the AFC title game. That's allowed. 2009, they went 9-7. That year, they buried New England up in New England, which is hard to do. He beat Belichick, and that was in the wild card game. And then they lost to Indianapolis in Indianapolis, 20-3. So that's 3-2 first 2 years in the postseason. Nobody's going to argue with that. In 2010, he was 12-4. They won at Kansas City, and then they lost to Pittsburgh in the divisional game. But he won a playoff game. He won 12 games. Nobody's going to scream about that. That's excellent years. 2011. He was another great year. He was 12-4, and that year in the postseason, he beat Houston in the divisional playoff, and then he lost a bad game to New England. They should have won the game. Lee Evans dropped a touchdown pass. Nobody's going to kill him about that either. So, first 3 years, 8, 9, 10, 4 years, nothing wrong with Harbaugh. You can't say a word. 2012, he went 10-6 and won the whole thing. So, from 2008 to 2012, he's a Hall of Famer. Let's be fair. All right, 2013, 8-8. 2014, 10-6. Beat the Steelers in the first round. Lost to New England up in New England. Game was close for a while, 35-21. 2004, he's allowed to have a bad year in 2013. And 2014, he won a playoff game. So we're going to give him a break on that. 2015, Baltimore was 5-11. 2016, they were 8-8. And 2017, they were 9-7. That's 3 years now of lousy football. I don't know. Going a little stale in Baltimore? Plus, he's annoying. Hey, just speaking aloud, it's a talk show, right? Now, he's not coming on this show anytime soon. 9 in front of the hour, we continue. Mad Dog Unleashed.